and see, come 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 and.
Without further ado, we gotta start with what we always start with, and it is the Aries. So Aries, if you're Aries who pays attention to astrology, because like most Aries, they normally just pay attention to themselves. And so like Aries, you probably have read somewhere that you're ought to become an athlete or a police officer or a firefighter, or maybe the astrologist got a little specific and told you to pursue boxing. You know what I'm saying? Like whatever it is, just use your physical aggression for your own behavior or like for your business. So like if you can use it in maybe like music, or you know what I'm saying, whatever you do for like your physical, because like fire signs are very physical in their nature. It says there's a strong physicality there. The typical Aries cannot be passive, still, or excessively patient. They hate tedium. A desk job will be ill-advised. Hey, I'm not saying that this is word for word perfect, but how many Aries do you know with a 9-to-5 desk job? You know, that just sit down and they can just type and just be able to get this done. I mean, just get just one task done just because somebody told them to do that. That's not in their nature. So like their personality isn't well fit for those type of situations, especially in the workplace. So moving on, next we have Taurus, and Taurus is the stability normally. So here's the thing about Taurus. Some people may assume that you can be lazy, but sometimes that could be true, or they may assume that they're super stubborn or persistent. And we're talking about the Tauruses. Taurus. Your Tauruses, you know, the bull operates in 2 speeds, especially when tackling an assignment. You'll take your sweet time to organize, strategize, and plan out the attack. But when you're in full charge, there's nothing stopping you. And that's something about the Taurus. And what this relates to in their business is they need stability, routine, and comfort. Taurus rarely get bored with the mundanity of everyday office life. They rarely get bored. They like to have something that they can keep going forward. So like if they can just keep doing something on a day-to-day basis, then that's for a Taurus. And that's something that they grasp on. So next, we have the Gemini. All right, and we just did a Gemini video that's gonna be posted up next week. So it says Geminis are masters of communication. So that's another thing about the air signs. Air signs are really adept with communication, connections. Just think about like questions. What do questions do? Questions open up conversations. So that's something about the Geminis and what they do. They make for excellent novelists, poets, and songwriters. So I mean, hey, you might be asked who's your favorite rapper. Some people may tell you Kendrick Lamar or somebody like that. Well, Kendrick Lamar is a Gemini. He's one of the greatest rappers of all time. Even Tupac was a Gemini. So like I'm not saying that all Geminis are songwriters and rappers and stuff, but they do have an adept talent if they put their mind to it. It says that you need a certain level of flexibility with your work. So that's where the rapping comes in, and like being like a writer or something that gives you like the flexibility to do what you want. And that's something really cool about Geminis and the workplace. Cancers are often, all right, now we're gonna move on to the Cancers. Now Cancers is the first water sign. Cancers, ooh. Alrighty now. So Cancers are often characterized as overly sensitive. But they usually don't get enough credit. So, you know, don't take it easy on my Cancers at the moment. It's probably the Cancer in your friend group that pours countless hours into their secret Santa gift and reminds you to count your drinks at the bar. So Cancer is really about the care. It's like the motherly nature of the Zodiac. So that's the one thing about the Cancer. And so the Cancer image is intimately associated with feeling for and nurturing others. And that's what I mean by the motherly nature. I'm not saying that all Cancers are destined to be moms, but thank you very much. But Cancers do have a certain nature when it comes to feeling and nurturing for others. It says that you shine brightest, and by you I mean Cancers. Cancers shine brightest when your mission involves helping and supporting people. You will likely find difficulty in emotionally connecting to a job where you don't feel you're making an impact on someone's life. Cancer. Alrighty, now let's move on forward, and so we can talk about the great Leos of the the Leo. Alrighty, so Leo, it's really short and straight to the point. I know it's like 3 letters, but like this one is like the one everybody's gonna know about, because they have a adept nature at putting like themselves on the stage. And so like this is what Leos are about doing. And I'm actually a Leo myself, if you haven't guessed it, but I could talk about this one from a personal aspect. So while it's true that Leos are known for having massive egos, but like that's really just like a stereotype. Some are actually they're surprisingly fragile, and some Leos they don't really have to have the biggest ego, but like their confidence can carry them long ways, especially in the workplace. As much as they thrive off validation and praise, so like validation will keep them going. Like just tell a Leo that they're like, you got to stroke their ego to make them perform better. So like if they feel like they're doing something right, they're gonna get better at getting right. Does that make sense? Because they just want to keep going after getting right. So it's just like a ongoing process, and that's really about their motor. If you are an especially sensitive Leo, you may want to work in developing a thicker skin, because like especially on the internet, like people can be harsh, like you can get bad comments, dislikes, yada yada. So it's important to develop a thicker skin, especially if you want to put yourself on the stage. You have to like know already what you are talking about, do your research. Hey, that's all right. I'm saying too much, man. I'm giving y'all all the secrets, but let's move on to the Virgo. So Virgo, ooh. So that's the Virgos. So the Virgos are a typical analysis of the Virgo sign would be neat, organized, knee deep in Lysol. So what that normally means is like, how Lysol is like that 99.9% clean. Yeah, that's the Virgo of the Zodiac. So so it's true that Virgos will thrive in a practical environment, often gravitating towards detail-oriented careers. It's very very important to pay close attention to detail for Virgos. That's like their whole overall thing. And especially in the workplace, they generally prefer to work remotely and humbly rather than taking the helm. And like as far as like this whole spotlight, they don't want too much light on them, but you may find that it comes naturally to manage a project at work. Like just being in control of making things perfect. That's really about Virgos that they work towards. And it's a really simple characteristic, and it's an earth sign. So like earth signs are normally like simple, and they do things like the right way, or they focus on practicality, and it says you probably won't be it probably won't be your first instinct to seize control, but coworkers respect a purposeful leader who lays out clear, reasonable expectations. And as a Virgo, you perform best in peaceful and professional conditions. You're not interested in water cooler gossip or after work cocktail drama. So that means that they're really about their business when it comes to a Virgo. All the extra fluff, that is not necessary in a Virgo's workplace. They treat work as work. So we can skip on to the Libra. We're actually in Libra season right now, and Libra is another air sign. So Libras, if you're a manager or recruiter of some kind, trust me on this, you want a Libra on your team. And my evidence for this claim rests on the two famous, vastly different but equally impressive blondes. They're talking about Elle Woods and Leslie. Nope. But yeah, Libras are flexible people with a wide variety of interests. They are defined by their love for balance, equality, and harmony. So that's the overall stereotypes going on with the Libras. Balance, equality, and harmony. As a Libra, your sense of justice and your knack for intrapersonal connection. See, like connection, that's another air sign trait. So intrapersonal connection, so that means like just through people to people. So it's just like very short like conversation. So like it's like direct. Does that make sense? I know it makes sense, but so like it also says Libras are cooperative and fiercely loyal. So you will likely perform admirably in any profession. So people love a team player and you love a challenge. Libras love a challenge and they will work tirelessly to find solutions to perceived injustices, making friends every step of the way. Libras can lead the way and get people to follow them. That's another thing about them. And since it's ruled by Venus, there's no notable streak of sophistication with everything you do. You will do anything you set your mind to and make it look impossibly good. All right. So now we're going to get into the Scorpios. So Scorpios. So this is a water sign slash. So the Scorpios are, all right, so Scorpios, they're really intense. And in the workplace, they have a talent for persuasion. So they like to push the envelope and revel in a convincing argument, however risk or taboo. Scorpios have the ability to be both charming and repellent. Hillary Clinton and Joe Biden are both Scorpios. Think about that. So like just being able to persuade, like especially like in an argument, you know, or like doesn't have to necessarily be about speech, because like as a water sign, it could be more like emotions, and that's something that they tend to persuade people with. So just those meme legacies alone speak about the vast spectrum of reactions that Scorpios in the public eye are capable of producing under your impenetrable exterior. However, Scorpios may get impatient and angry within themselves, and it's not a public opinion that matters, but it's your own inner voice. So like it's like a conflict with them own selves, because like they put so much stuff inside of them, and just like when you put something that you have in the back of your head and you put it deep inside of yourself, it can start to eat away at you, you know, and especially like in the workplace, you don't want to like have that to like affect you. So just be mindful of that. So you often refuse to express these feelings of doubt, and so like it's all about having confidence. So that's the main thing about a Scorpio. As long as you have confidence in what you do, you'll be successful. And so so you often refuse to express these feelings of doubt, which will only exacerbate them, especially at work. Scorpios are almost obsessively determined and incredibly idealistic, which gives them the power to both self-analyze and self-sabotage. So Scorpio's weakness is a Scorpio, pretty much. So now we're moving on to the Sagittarius. Ooh. So the Sagittarius is a fire sign. So fire signs are physical, like they like to speak about emotions and whatnot. We talking about the fate of your career. We're on the Sagittarius aspect, so we have four more, and then we're out the way. This will be posted just so you can rewind and go back. But we're talking about Sagittarius at the moment. So Sagittarians in the workplace are the jocks, the office darlings, the life of the party, superlative winners. There's nothing like a Sagittarius to liven up the company retreat. So if you see a Sagittarius, you know the emotions are going up. So like they're all about, you know, like the overall emotions of everyone. And it's not just about like bringing people to them, like a Leo, or just like for like an Aries, it would be like just about themselves. So just like if you see Sagittarius energy, that means that everybody's going up. All right, so they'll come equipped with donuts or vodka, probably. So that's about them. They're the life of the party. And in the workplace as a Sagittarius, your saving grace is your passion for others' well-being. While you may seem flirty or shallow at sometimes, Sagittarians are often deeply philosophical, so they know it all, or curious creatures, always learning and growing. On top of that, Sagittarians have effortless charm and very little insecurities in social situations. This equips you perfectly for teaching, counseling, and mentoring. So, something about Sagittarius is they know it all, so if you know it, why not spread it with everybody else? All right, and now we're going to talk about the Capricorns. Ooh, okay. So it says right here that Capricorns either skip the company retreat entirely, preferring to stay bunkered down in their minimalist Wall Street apartment, getting ahead of the work for the next week, or they're the ones running it. So that's the thing about Capricorns. They don't like to be put themselves second, and they work hard to go towards their own goals and meet their own goals. So the Capricorns possess the invaluable combination of willpower and work ethic. There is no limit to what a Capricorn can accomplish once they have put their mind to it. So as a Capricorn, you are probably extremely comfortable in positions of power and responsibility. You don't need to find your work fulfilling or meaningful. You get enough fulfillment with a simple job well done. So your patience, determination, Capricorn, and coolness under pressure is perfect for high-stress jobs and situations. So, like, if you don't act emotionally, especially in the workplace, then you can be sure to make the right decision. So, but try not to overwork yourself. Doggedness comes easy to you, and so you will maybe overly willing to pick up other people's slack. So that's something that you shouldn't do as a Capricorn, is like fill in the gaps to other people, because over too much stress, you can probably like slip up if you have too much stress from other people's slack. And so that brings us to the Aquarius of the chat, of the of the Zodiac. So the Aquarius is the air sign. Air sign. Okay, Aquarius. So Aquarians, the plural version of Aquarius is the Aquarians. So it says, if you do happen to be an Aquarius, I suspect it's because you're very indecisive about a career to begin with. Don't imagine that you buy the modern idea of work consuming your life, and that you are fine with making money to live and having passion products on the side, or passion projects on the side. So like about Aquarius, they already know what they have going on, and they do their research on it. They work very hard to accomplish their goals. So Aquarians are innovative, eccentric, and inventive human beings. Those with a mind for math or science will likely find great personal gratification with a job in the tech world, working to discover new methods of progress. Aquarians desire to serve as the catalyst for positive change. They channel passion into their everyday lives with strong willpower and far-reaching idealism. So that's something about Aquarians. And also to note for Aquarians that the Aquarius sign is always at the front line of progress. So just moving forward. But that is because they're always looking at the bigger picture. And when they mean by bigger picture, we're talking about like not like a earthly big, like a galactic big. So like Aquarius may be, concerned with like what's going on around them, as an Aries would be like to themselves, or a Leo would be about bringing people to them, but the Aquarius would be about everybody else around them. So that's something to note about Aquarius. And that brings us to, last but not least, the foot of the zodiac, the Pisces. So, Pisces is an imaginative, observant, difficult to define sign. They're mislabeled as dreamy or spacey, which undermines the capabilities of the open Piscean mind. They have vast stores of empathy and scarily accurate instincts. As Pisces, you may be drawn to helping others understand themselves, perhaps as a counselor or a therapist. You know, like for a therapist, that would be like somebody who's helping people get connected with their feelings and emotionally. So that's the thing. The gift to the water signs is their emotions. So water signs are really adept at helping people's emotions out, especially like the Pisces. So the Pisces are far more likely to be driven by your respect for something's value or mission rather than by financial or personal gain. So with this being said, your optimism tends to inspire others, and you may find yourself in a reluctant place of leadership. Don't shy away from this responsibility. Your ability to understand motives, weigh all options before making a decision, and value creative solutions makes you an effective manager. So especially in non-traditional environments. So that's really big on Pisces. They're not really like focused on like having just like this structure. They don't need that to survive. They're based on like the flow of everything, and that's really about the water sign Pisces that keeps them going, especially in the workplace. And that will be all of the signs put together. So like in short, like all of the signs can like be anything. So they all represent everything in society. So that's the thing about the zodiac, because it doesn't miss anything. So we touched on everybody's emotions, like through like the water signs, or like the connections through like the air signs, or like the practicality. So like making like the perfect decision, or like the right decision without using your emotions. So it's like we're touching all the bases, and it's about the overall feeling of everybody else. So like, you know, if a Sagittarius, you know, just make sure that everybody is feeling good. That's what it's about. Yeah, and that's really about the fate of your career according to the Zodiac. And this has been the ZodiaLites. I'm your host, LED, Leo of the chat, and we're signing out.
Say let's see, come and see, LED, come and see, come and see.